Well, good morning. We are excited to welcome you here to Martha O'Brien this morning. This morning, like every morning, families will be coming in to invest in their and their children's future. So welcome Govenror Lee, Commissioner Carter, Speaker Sexton, Chairman Watson, Chairman Hawk, and Representative Robin Smith. We welcome all our friends from the Department of Human Services. We just got to meet Commissioner Carter, and that was wonderful. And of course, we want to also recognize our Chairman of the Board, Harrison Frist, and Board Member Robbie King. And I would be remiss if I didn't also recognize Jeff Yarborough, who has been a longtime supporter here at Martha O'Brien. And Jack Johnson, too. Thank you so much. We met earlier today. The Martha O'Brien Center is dedicated to upward economic mobility for Tennessee's low-income families. So we're not here just to help people get a job. We do that, that's important, but it's a benchmark on a longer path. And so what we help people do, what we help families do, is build an economic plan for their lives, for their family, for their children, so that their family can be strong and the communities in which they live can thrive. So today we're sitting kind of in the middle of the temporary space for the Family Success Network. This is an innovation on workforce development that is family-centered and focuses on three imperatives: economic opportunity and advancement, children ready for school and succeeding in school, and families' ability to build social capital by their own work and achievement. So we have 150 families signed up this year. In the first year, yes, we did open the Family Success Network in the pandemic, and this just demonstrates the great drive for a better future that our families have. In November, we will break ground on a 30,000 square foot Haygood Family Success Network. After 50 years of service, the Faith Building will be redesigned to serve the Family Success Network and the over 300 families that will come there. There they will find career discernment and placement. They will find family counseling. They will find a financial coach. They will find nurse practitioners, adult education, access to college and training, and entrepreneurial training. In addition to all that, they will have both the opportunity for drop-in childcare and also full licensed childcare. So we are called by faith to make a way for our neighbors, just as many made a way for us. But make no mistake, at Martha O'Brien Center, it is the adult head of household who does the work of crafting a plan for family prosperity, for rising above poverty, and we are honored to walk with those we serve, and we are inspired by their dedication to their dreams and to their children. So it is a pleasure to welcome Governor Bill Lee to the podium to share the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families Opportunity Act.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you for everything that the Martha O'Brien Center does and has done for many, many families for generations in this community. Your clients are inspiring, and the work that you do for them and with them is inspiring as well. That's the reason we're holding this here, because community partnerships are key to this modernization of this particular program, but they're key really to addressing the needs of the citizenry. And your admonition, inspired by Scripture, to serve our neighbors, to love them and serve them, is exactly what you're doing here, and it's a part of the strategy that we have through this modernized Temporary Assistance for Needy Family program and the TANF Opportunity Act. Grateful for not only private sector, but Department of Human Services, the TANF working group that the General Assembly put together to walk alongside us as we crafted this legislation, all understanding that we needed to modernize this plan. in order for it to work more effectively and to be good stewards. We have 4 key priorities in this act: to incentivize self-sufficiency, to invest the TANF reserve funding, to make sure that we utilize previously unspent dollars, protect against fraud and waste and abuse, and the real goal is to work more effectively for the families in the state who need these funds in order to help them in their access to opportunity. I'm particularly proud that we're investing in those who are pursuing educational opportunities. We know that that change in this plan will provide opportunity, because we all know that education is the key to accessing opportunity, and this modernized plan will do just that. We've also established a 21-member TANF advisory board that includes commissioners, legislators, local government, private businesses, nonprofit, faith-based organizations. When we all come together in an advisory capacity, then we will ensure that we are being good stewards of this program, that we're using it effectively, and that the people that need it the most are getting the help that they need. I certainly want to thank all the members of the legislature that were recognized here, especially Speaker Sexton, Lieutenant Governor McNally, the leadership in the legislature that worked not only on this piece of legislation, but will be working with us going forward. And I also, again, want to reiterate the partnership here at Martha O'Brien Center, representative of the community of partners that'll be required in order for us to do this. Government is not the answer to the greatest challenges that we face. Commissioner Carter, who has had great vision for this from the day he walked in the door. I'm grateful for his expertise that he brought from his previous work into this role. He and I have discussed many times that while that our role is to create that environment for individuals to succeed, and those challenges will be solved with partnership, not by the government, but with the partnership with the people. And the people are places like Martha O'Brien Center, faith-based communities, partners all across the state. So we believe that this will change lives, and that this will better serve the Tennesseans who are in need of temporary assistance and who have needs that can be met by this program that will move them into a place of greater opportunity. So proud to be here. Thank you very much.
Governor Lee, thank you so much. I just want to begin quickly by thanking the legislative leadership for this moment. This is a transformational moment in the history of the Tennessee safety net. And it took a collaboration to get to this moment. And I particularly want to recognize Senator Bo Watson and Representative David Hawk for their driving this through the legislative process. And Speaker Sexton, thank you so much also. So as I said, this is a transformational moment in the history of the Tennessee safety net. Okay? We believe that the safety net should be a mile marker in a life's journey, not a destination unto itself. But that is not the way that the American safety net has been designed to operate. It's actually been designed, it fosters dependency. Well, we are going to use this TANF Opportunity Act to model to all Tennesseans that it is our objective for all Tennesseans to thrive, or to be afforded the opportunity to thrive, and then to allow them to embrace that opportunity. I had the good fortune of coming to Martha O'Brien on Monday. I wanted to see the place where we were going to sign this landmark legislation. And it was important to me that what I saw here is this is a place of transformation. It's not just about the transaction of a benefit, it is about transforming lives, helping individuals and families grow beyond the vulnerability that has them need the safety net. And so what's important for us to share with you is that this moment is not about one program. It's not just about the TANF program. It is about a brand new construct, a construct that says that the role of the Tennessee safety net is to lift all who are willing beyond their vulnerability. And I think it was perfect that this was a collaboration of the executive, the legislative branch, and the community. Because at the end of the day, what the government is doing here is serving as a catalyst to unleash all of Tennessee on this issue. And so it is my honor and privilege to be here today, joined with other Tennessee leaders to make this transformational moment happen. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here with you this morning.
Thank you for allowing me to be here today, Marcia. Thank you and your board for servicing 18,000 individuals here in Davidson County of all ages and providing a light of hope for them as they're trying to change their lives. And we're not successful if you're not successful. But what we do know, as Commissioner Govenror said, is government's not the solution. We just help, and people like you are the solution for those individuals. And so as we continue to look forward, this was a bipartisan effort in the General Assembly, and our state is blessed to work bipartisan on the very, very vast majority of the things that we do. And this was just one example. And I know a lot of times people say, hey, there's a lot of partisanship going on, but not here in Tennessee. In Tennessee, we do work together for the common cause to help people find that opportunity and that hope to change their lives, to build a career, and to get to a place that they never thought they could achieve. And that's what this did. That's what our members of the General Assembly did by working together, coming up with this type of plan, working with the governor and his administration on getting something available that will change lives. And so I appreciate the governor's leadership on this. I appreciate, Governor, you picked the perfect commissioner to come in at the perfect time, whether it's divine intervention or whatever it was, to lead this effort with his background. And so thank you for making that choice as well. And this is just one part. Let me just say, this is not the end of the road of what we can do here in this state. There's much, much more that we can do. And so we're very blessed to live here. But there is also an opportunity for us to work with the federal government, because there are things that only the federal government can fix, like the financial cliff that they all face. We had a presentation from a federal group come up from Atlanta, talk about when someone's just wanting to progress through the nursing occupation. At one level, they get to a point where they lose money, and the right to go further in their training is limited. And Robin Smith brought that person to us, and we had a wonderful conversation in the office that day. So there's still a lot of issues internally that we need to work on and lobby the federal government to change. But in Tennessee, we're doing what we can with Republicans and Democrats to change the lives. Thank you all very much.
Good morning. My name is Jack Johnson. I have the honor of serving as the Majority Leader of the Tennessee State Senate, and in that capacity, I have the great privilege and honor of sponsoring the governor's legislative package, along with my colleagues, of course, in the Senate and in the House. And Governor, I'm convinced that of all the bills we've passed so far, this is very near the top of the list in terms of legislation that I truly believe will be transformational, to use the Commissioner's a very appropriate word, transformational in people's lives. We're going to create a pathway to prosperity with this legislation. And the other word that comes to mind is partnership, as has been mentioned. We're talking about federal dollars, so the federal government is involved, and obviously the state is involved in determining how those dollars are used. And then the most important component is obviously the organizations like this, like the Martha O'Brien Center, that are actually going to implement and execute our vision and your vision, our shared vision, to improve these people's lives. So it's a very much a pleasure to be here, and I thank Govenror Lee for bringing this legislation, and the commissioner and the department. It was an arduous journey. We had some bumps along the way, but I think we ended up in a really, really good spot. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my colleagues in the Senate Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, who is very instrumental and supportive of this legislation, and my friend Bo Watson, who is chairman of the Finance Committee, who co-sponsored this legislation with me and really helped make sure. He was a member of the TANF working group and very passionate about this issue and worked hard to get it across the finish line. And it's also great to be here with my friend across the aisle, Senator Yarborough. Always great to see you, and I understand we're just outside of your district, but it's great to be here with you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all very much. I'm David Hawk. I serve Northeast Tennessee in the legislature and was honored to be part of the working group, the TANF working group that's been mentioned several times already. Speaker Sexton, Lieutenant Governor McNally did a great job of leading us. 18 months ago, we found out we had a substantial amount of money that we had not tapped into and many needs across the state. So along with Robin Smith, Bo Watson, Representative Harold Love, I've got the list here, Ramesh Akbari, Steve Dickerson, and last but not least, Chairman Brian Terry. Brian really did some great work, and he's not been mentioned much this morning so far, but Brian did an amazing job as the leader of that TANF working group to get us across the finish line to get this done as we negotiated with all different folks. Negotiation is a good word for it there, Commissioner Carter, I think. It was a lot of ups and downs and ins and outs, and they call this legislative duty a part-time job, but it was 7 days a week for about 3 months that we were working on this. I want to use two words as I describe what we're doing here today and what we've done with this legislation. Strengthen families. That's what we're doing with this legislation. This is a pro-family piece of legislation. This is a pro-life piece of legislation. This is going to be a piece of legislation that's going to affect families for generations to come, because we're giving many of those individuals who didn't feel like they had a chance, who were this close to dropping out of the workforce, we're going to be encouraging them to stay in the workforce, to get that next job, to get that next degree, to get some education, and to get their family on a footing where they're going to be prosperous for the rest of their lives. So the work that's being done here at the Martha O'Brien Center is just one portion of that. What we hope to see with some of the innovations as we go forward with this legislation, in concert with the Department of Human Services, we're going to be engaging nonprofits across the state of Tennessee, some in a very large way. The 18,000 people that are served now, how can we expand that to serve 25 or 30,000 people? You've got some smaller nonprofits in the rural part of Tennessee, where I live in Northeast Tennessee, maybe serving 50, 60, 70 families. How can we serve 100, 150 families on a smaller level, but still a critically important level? This legislation is going to allow us to move those nonprofits into the 21st century, allow us to use the innovations that they've already got in their communities, and to be that much better for it. So, Governor Lee, thank you for leading this. Speaker Sexton, thank you. Commissioner Carter, thank you. Thank y'all.
I got the late one at the party, so it's all right. It's all right. Well, hopefully, I'm Bo Watson. I'm from Chattanooga, and I work at Park Ridge Medical Center, and I had to check on some things there before I could get up here, so I apologize for being late. Governor, Speaker, I hope I don't repeat what's already been said. If I do, I apologize, but I appreciate your indulgence. While this legislation does a lot for the families and the pathway to prosperity that's been talked about, it also does something that's really fundamentally different from what we've done in the past. This is just not another government program. Actually, there's a lot of meat in this bill in terms of measuring the success of a program. This, to my knowledge, is one of the first pieces of legislation that actually has written into it a requirement that agencies that use the opportunity grants that I'm sure have been discussed have to subject themselves to a randomized controlled trial. That is the highest level of evaluation that any program like this can be held to. And the purpose of that was to establish for the public that what we are spending their dollars on is making a difference, and that we're not just merely throwing money at a problem. And so for those of you in the media, as you get into looking at what the legislation really does, it is going to tap into the innovative and creative spirit of Tennesseans, nonprofit, and other organizations on how we address and take on some of the largest challenges that society has. And in order to qualify for that, you have to sit in front of an advisory board and be selected. And then you have to also agree to be subjected to a randomized controlled trial. And so out of the 7 programs that are being promoted in this legislation, if one of those really takes and becomes scalable, then we will not only change the lives for Tennesseans, Tennessee will again be known as a leader across the United States. And our hope, my hope, I think the sponsors' hope, and certainly the governor's hope, is that what comes out of this legislation in 3 years will be looked at by other states and said, hey, you know what? That model that they've got in Tennessee, that will work for us too. And finally, we'll have programs which are not only successful in their local communities, but are scalable and measurable. And that's a huge difference in this legislation and other things that have been done in the past. So with that, I want to say thank you to everyone who participated, to my majority leader, Jack Johnson, who allowed me to work, really dive deeply into this, to all of the nonprofit stakeholders who sat at the table and helped us craft this, to the folks from DHS who were open to a new way of doing things, which is what we are really good at in Tennessee, right, is opening and doing things differently. So I look forward to seeing you again in 3 years when we talk about the incredible success that we've had with our opportunity grants and how we've changed the face of how we deliver the TANF services to the individuals that we're so lucky to serve. With that, I'll yield to whoever's next on the program because I'm not sure. So thank you very much.
Is that it? All right, let's sign.
I wasn't in charge of the schedule, but I think that's what.
I may be, but I don't know, so. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right.
Jeff.
Step up here. Jeff?
Oh, sorry.
Our program here, we're going to do press and over here. So,